I'm Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional.
We also have Angela Salyers, who is a licensed professional counselor, and the three of us together make up
Whole Life Vitality.
We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Welcome back.
Welcome.
I am so excited, Sunny. We have a request.
These are my favorite.
I know. Someone wrote in with a comment and actually a question from our Friends and Boundaries Healthy Friendships
I
podcast.
liked that one. I really liked that one.
Right? And we know all about healthy friendships because we've had a lot of unhealthy friendships.
Oh, man.
In our past.
You don't know what you want till you know what you don't.
That is so true. I was actually talking to a friend the other day and I said, making new friends, especially as an adult, I think it's kind of like dating.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Because you meet someone and you're like, do they like me? If I text them, is it too soon? Like, maybe they don't like me. Ooh, they said that. They didn't reply right away. Maybe they don't actually want to be friends. I mean, for real.
And then you have, you put them into groups. Those are I could go out to eat with them only if we drive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can we please drive separately in case I need to get out
or
in a hurry?
You got those are our game night friends.
Totally.
Or, and then the very elusive, go on vacation with friends.
Which,
that one.
So rare, like an
Those
endangered
are rare.
species.
The older
kind
that
of
you
rare.
get,
yes.
The older that you get, that's usually just dedicated to your spouse or your close family. But every once in a while, you find that friend, or But then again, when you find the friend, you also got to make sure that the spouses are compatible.
That is so true. Which then it's like double dating, like finding, like when your best friend starts dating someone new, and you're like, I don't know, is this going to work with every single person that we know? Is everyone going to like them?
You know it's successful when you get in the car on the way home and you high five your spouse and you're like, that was fun.
We found a good one.
Yeah.
And then, you go on vacation with family and you're like, I really wish we would have just come with our friends.
Been there.
Right. Okay, so we had an interesting question come up from the last one because she said,
now this podcast, we were talking about how to determine what a healthy friendship actually looks like.
Yes. And when a friend starts maybe taking advantage of you or pressing your boundaries in a way that is unhealthy for you.
Okay. So just trying to give some context.
Mm-hmm. This person messaged in and said, if I identify myself as having been a bad friend, then how do I begin the process of developing into a better friend?
Oh, wow.
I know. And just the amazing self-awareness that you have to say, look in the mirror and say, okay, this friendship didn't maybe develop into what I was hoping it would. And maybe it was me.
Wow. First of all, that's amazing because like you said, that takes so much self-awareness because when we're reading a book on self-development or mindset or, making changes in your life, or we're listening to podcasts or even listening to a sermon, what will typically happen is we'll hear it and we'll think of someone else that needs to hear it.
Oh my goodness. You're going down the list in your head. Well, I'm totally fine, but that person, they need some Jesus.
I wish so-and-so was here right now to get this.
Right.
But to actually open up your heart and to hear something or read something and say, wow, I have been guilty of that in the past.
Yeah.
And then to take it a step further and to say, what can I do to change that? Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing. And I so appreciate that vulnerability that they took to ask that question.
I totally agree because
that's great.
Even that awareness, I think, is the first step. Because
that's huge.
You can't get anywhere. You can't progress past where you are without an awareness of, oh, well, this is where I am and this is uncomfortable and I don't want to be here. So how do I move past
Yeah.
that.
So like you said, that was the first step.
Yes.
Like truly, that was the first step to having the awareness that that's been something that, you know, you feel like you've been guilty of in the past. And
So good job, friends.
Yeah, I think we've all done that. So the next step is truly realizing that who you are, like, who am I? You know, what are my gifts? What are my talents? What are my strengths? And truly to develop a healthy friendship, you're going to vibe and tribe with people, you know.
That's where the dating part comes
Yes.
in. You know, like trying people out. Who do I mesh with?
And we're not saying like pick and choose, like, you're not good enough for me. That's not what I'm talking about. First
you
of
know,
all,
when you first meet someone, I feel like there's a vibe there, you know, again, just like dating, because you meet someone and you're like, oh, we have chemistry. And with friends, I feel like, you know, the conversation really flows. Maybe you have some things in common. Maybe you get each other in a way that other people don't get you.
Right.
Maybe you make each other laugh. Maybe you commiserate over traumas.
But the key with all of that is vulnerability.
Yes.
Can you be yourself around that person? Do you feel like you can truly open up? And that just takes doing it.
Yeah.
Just truly when you're meeting a person, and if your thing is, because I have friends that they don't like, they don't resonate well with like idle chit chat. They want to talk about important things.
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you. But I have multiple friends that like
For sure.
that
Small talk is hard
small
for me.
talk really just it stresses them out.
Yeah.
They don't enjoy it. So if they meet someone, then it's not just a hi, how are you? I'm fine. It's I want to get to know you.
Yes.
And if that other person is not receptive,
Then maybe it's not a good fit.
Then that's not a good fit, but that's okay.
I have a good friend now, and it's so funny because she'll tell stories of when we were just really getting to know each other, and she'll be like, Lauren used to come up and she would just say things to me, and I'm like, why is she telling me this? These are like intimate details of her life. Why is she saying this to me? This is so weird. And I was like, well, did you not want to know? She's like, no, I loved it. And I'm like, then why was it weird? Yeah. She's like, well, I guess after like, you know, that happened 3 or 4 times. Then I was like, maybe she likes me. Yeah. Maybe she wants to be my friend. Oh my gosh, maybe we're friends.
Truly, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want someone that you can be yourself. If you are having to pretend, or you are feeling like you are restricted with what you can say or what you can ask for, or if you can open up, then that's not a friend. So be yourself. Their happiness, you do not have to build them up all the time. That's not your job. Your job, their happiness is not your responsibility.
Right.
So that is not a friendship. That's like a contract. Okay. Yeah. So understanding at this point, when you're developing a friendship, that maybe that person in the past thought, I have to do this for this person to make them happy, or I have to be here, or I have to check on them, or I have to. For like, that's the second step. You do not have to with friendships. You get to open up. You get to share. You get to commiserate with one another. And, you know, really, hey, I'm struggling with this. Could you pray for me?
Yeah.
You know, you're offering that. So you're not that part that completes them. They cannot rely on you to complete them, and you cannot rely on them to complete you. You have to understand you are already complete. This is someone that
you're just doing life
helps.
together.
Exactly. That just brings out the best parts of you and is there for the parts that aren't beautiful.
In any relationship, it's so good to know what your love language is.
Yeah.
What, how you receive love and how you like to give love, because it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Your friendships, especially your close friendships, are a relationship. And so I always like to take a look in the mirror and think, well, if it were me, if I was in this situation, how would I want to be cared for?
Yes.
Do I want someone to check in on me? Do I want someone to reach out to me? Do I want someone to let them know that they're thinking about me or to ask how my day is. And grass is greener where you water it, right? And the same thing applies for your relationships. If you have a friendship that you just never talk to them,
right,
and you're like, well, I just get to them when I get to them. Well, it's a really good chance that grass is going to die.
absolutely. That's number 3. What is that line? The world is full of good intentions.
Yes.
Like
the road to success or something is paved in good intentions, something like that.
So when you really have to be kind of hitting into that awareness, like really, really figuring that out and asking for, help through that. Especially, if you're having a morning routine,
right?
Truly set that as your intention for the day, that you're hearing the prompts, because those are huge. Those prompts that say, hey, that person that pops into your head, check on them.
Yep.
And a lot of the times we'll push that away because we're busy. So that has been something that I have really focused on doing, is when I have this person come to my mind, I reach out to them, or I'll stop and pray for them, or I'll just send them a message, do something. But really, like, don't ignore that, because that's usually, it's there for a reason. Like, that is part of a friendship, is we're like, no, we don't want to bother them. They're at work right now, or they're busy. It's okay. Then they won't respond. If they're busy, they won't respond.
If your phone is on mute, you don't get that notification until you get it anyway.
Absolutely.
I am that person who sends texts in the middle of the night. I am, because I figure if someone is sleeping, their phone is on silent. But I want them to know that I was thinking about them whenever I was thinking about them. And sometimes in the middle of the night, they really needed to get that text.
Absolutely. That was truly, that was God laying them on your heart for a reason.
Yep.
So it takes a lot of selflessness to be a good friend, to take yourself out of the equation and your ego out of the equation, and to put someone else in the forefront of what's going on. So really paying attention to those prompts, just, as they come up. And it doesn't always have to be, let me go get them something or let me do something. It's just a simple, hey, I'm thinking about you. How are you doing? Whether it's a text message, a phone call, Marco Polo,
right?
But listening to that. And then, empathy. That's a big one with friendships, is having that empathetic ear that a friend needs at times.
Be a good listener.
Be a good listener, which means it's not always about you. So, if they're like, yeah, how was your day? It was okay. I had this and this going on. Girl, me too. You will not da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Raise your hand if you have friends like that. I mean, I think we all know those people.
Yes.
Which is interesting, because I just assume, and I really try to assume the best in people. So I just assume that if they are that way with me, then maybe it's because they need someone to listen.
Right.
And they are the listener for someone else. But those people, those types of friendships are not in my inner circle of go on vacation with friends.
No.
And that's okay. But I can give them that space to be who they are or who they need me to be in that moment.
Exactly. Empathy and active listening. That's very important. Looking them in the eye, having a conversation where you're listening to them. You're not actually like on your phone or this or that, or being present for them and just letting them talk. Don't interrupt. Don't throw your own story in there. Just let them talk all the way through. And this is also a big one that I have learned. You don't always know what it's like for them. You can appreciate their circumstance, but you don't know. And for some reason, our response is always, I know that must be hard, or I know what you mean. Do you really? Because your words matter. And sometimes we don't actually know what they're feeling or what they've gone through.
Angela, I know you guys haven't met Angela yet. She hasn't actually been on the podcast yet, but she is our certified counselor that we have on staff here. And she gave me this phrase that I just loved. And I think I've mentioned it here before, but it was I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yes.
Or I'm so sorry that you're going through that.
Absolutely.
And you can be empathetic with someone without saying, "Oh yeah, me too."
Or I know that's
taking
hard.
Yeah, and you're like, "Well, maybe it is," or maybe you're putting hard on a situation where there's not hard. Maybe it's sad. Maybe it's not hard. Maybe it's just sad. Maybe it's not hard. Maybe you're just pissed.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so if you put something else onto a situation, then you're kind of shifting how they're processing, maybe not in a healthy way.
Right.
So if you can just be supportive.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the other things. Everyone wants to be seen and wants to be heard and wants to be supported.
Right.
Everybody does. And if you can do that, I know we don't have the capacity to do that for every single person in our lives. But when you hone in on those people who you're like, this is someone who I want to get close to. And that's what I do. I hone in on those people that I'm like, this is the person who I know fills me up, who I feel like I could be close to, who this would be a healthy relationship. And so I open that space in my heart to have the capacity for those people to hear them, to be there for them, to listen to them, and to be empathetic for them.
Absolutely. And so to bring it all back for you, friend, to answer that question, have that part be part of your morning routine where you just put that out there and you spend time in meditation and prayer and say, you know what, please help me to be a better friend and show me the ways that I can do that starting now. Show me how I can try and vibe with these people. And again, it's not about quantity at this point in our lives. It is really about the quality. So if you have those friends in your mind that you already tribe with, that you have, think about how you can at this point, show more empathy towards them, more active listening, how you can listen to those prompts that you feel in your spirit when maybe they come up to your mind and, reach out. And I like to tell people, don't leave it open-ended. So if you say, hey, let's get together at some point.
Oh my goodness, just put it on the
Just
calendar.
It's okay to say, hey, when do you have available? I would love to get together. Do you have any time in the next week?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes or no.
Yep.
And if it's no, okay, well, what about the following week or whatever?
And would you like to get together?
Yes. Would you like to get together?
Because if they're like, oh, it's just a really busy season right now, then maybe they don't have the capacity for that right now. And that's okay. And then maybe someone else does.
Absolutely.
Or maybe wait a couple months and check in again and see if maybe there's a better time
and
at that
following
point.
up with, I understand. Is there anything that I could pray for you for or anything that I can do for you right now? Anything like that. But it's getting our ego out of the way and making sure we understand that we're not required to add to their life. Like, you are not responsible for them being happy and they are not responsible for you being happy. You're both completely whole. And you're just coming together and bringing out, beautiful strengths in one another.
Side by side.
But understanding that there's no requirement there, that's not a friendship. Again, that's a contract.
Right.
So understanding that, knowing the difference, and finding that person that you can be yourself with and be open with that person and truly open with that person. And again, you do those things. You have the empathy, the active listening, follow the prompts, and just be yourself.
Yep.
And that is like the key, like all the necessary ingredients to grow it. Like, God waters it at that point. When you have all of those, God is the one that does the increase with that. He waters it and brings you two together, and then it flourishes.
And start to feel what it will feel like to have those friendships.
Yeah.
Start to imagine what it will be like to have those friendships. Start to put yourself internally in the place where those things exist in your life, because then when they do show up, you'll have space for them.
Yeah, because the Bible says iron sharpeneth iron. And that's really the key. Write that down. Like, write that down where you can see it. Iron sharpeneth iron. Like that's what you're looking for, is that person that you two just make each other better. You challenge one another. You grow one another. You strengthen one another. And you do that, ironically, by being vulnerable with one another.
Yep. And showing your weaknesses.
Yes.
And by showing that you are not perfect, then you allow space for someone else to also show up not perfect.
Yes.
Which is great.
Because we're all just imperfect people.
I mean, come on. Again, can we come back to Hannah Montana? Because nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody's perfect. Thank you so much for writing in. Thank you so much for that question. I know it took a lot of
It was beautiful.
Vulnerability.
Beautiful question.
Girl, you're ready for some friends. You have that open space inside you. I know you're ready for some friends. That's so great. And if you haven't listened to our other podcast, find our Healthy Friendships podcast wherever podcasts are streaming.
Yes.
And if you have a question, we would love to hear from you. So write in and we will highlight you on our podcast.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much for showing up today, friends.
Bye.
See you next time.